always great to have you all back again on our channel. My name is Amara.
And my name is Gospel.
And I just want to welcome you. If this is your first time being on our channel, please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you know when we put content out. And for all our returning subscribers, it's always a joy to have you.
Wow. Today we'll be discussing something we think is very important for people in relationship and for people in marriage. And the title is See the Best in Your Spouse.
We will start with an illustration today. A family had a hobby of putting together jigsaw puzzles. The father usually brought home puzzles that were more challenging than the previous ones. One night, he brought home a very complex puzzle that had more than 1,000 pieces in it. As they began to fix the puzzle together, they found out that in spite of their effort, they were not making a headway. And then this made the family utterly frustrated. However, the father found out that he had mistakenly switched the box top with the top of another puzzle. So basically, he took the top of the puzzle from another box and switched it all around. The picture, exactly, unknowingly. So the picture they were then looking at was not the puzzle that they were working on actually. So hence, no matter how much effort they put in, they could not get the right outcome.
The moral of this illustration is that, if you are looking at the wrong picture, you want to create something and you're looking at, it's like when you want to build a house and you're looking at the wrong architectural design for the house. Obviously, what you're building will be utterly different from what you intend to build. If we bring that into marital relationship, if you are seeing something different from the kind of spouse you expect to have. For instance, you want a wonderful husband who is so caring, who is so loving, who is all there for you, But in your mind, you see your spouse as someone who is the opposite of what you desire to have. Obviously, your outcome will be negative.
There are so many people who are in a relationship, and despite their effort to make it work, they always end up with negative outcomes. One of the reasons could be that their perception about their spouse, the perception about their relationship in itself is wrong. Just like the family story which I've just illustrated.
Exactly.
So as long as your concept of human relationship is wrong, even when you're working hard to make it work, it will end up getting a wrong outcome which would lead you to utter disappointment. I would say at this point that your perception would influence your behavior. The way you perceive your spouse would have a strong bearing on how you would treat him or her. One of the key concepts about a human relationship, and I think it's very important for us to talk about it here, is perception. Perception about the person, perception about an individual. It has so much impact on your attitude, on your behavior towards that person. So no matter how much your spouse tries to please you with his or her best, in terms of the relationship, I want to be the best in this relationship. As long as your focus on him and her is basically on their shortcomings, trust me, you would always see things that reinforce your negative belief about him or her in that relationship. Hence, I would say that at this point, it would be difficult for you to really appreciate your spouse looking more on the positive side of him or her.
So the idea of this is that you need to see the strength in your spouse. Everyone has shortcomings. Everyone has weaknesses.
Absolutely.
There is no perfect spouse out there. And you will say to me, you don't actually know the kind of husband I'm married to or the kind of wife I'm married to.
Exactly.
You might have your good reasons for seeing the person from a negative point of view. But the point is, if that person is someone who is married to you and you want your relationship to work and you want to have peace of mind as well and play your role as a wonderful spouse, what you need to do is to pinpoint the strength of your spouse. Write down maybe 5 things you like or you love about your spouse. What are the areas of strength of your spouse? And focus on those. Or else you will be frustrated. Or else you will feel like you're trapped in your marriage. Because you can't change anyone. That's one of the things we need to know. The concept we have about marriage is that you can't change your spouse.
Yeah.
And if your spouse is not doing the things you expect from him or her, you can't even force the person to do it. Yours is to do your role. And for you to have that effectiveness in playing your part as a good spouse, you have to focus on the person's strength.
Just to add to what you've said, the truth is that there are some things that we do not like about our spouse, like you've emphasized. And the thing is, those things might be character flaws. They might be behavioral patterns that you have noticed. And you find out that, oh, these things don't really align with me. It's not my cup of tea, kind of. But you know what? If we channel more of our energy, all our effort towards fixing the puzzle, remember the story, it would never fit. Because this person is different from you. It's a fact, and you have to accept that you're wired differently, and there is nothing you can do about that. So rather, I would emphasize that we must choose to appreciate our differences, or else our effort towards trying to fix our differences would just be a futile one.
Yeah, you're actually talking about differences. In fact, some of the things we don't like may not even be character flaws, like you said. It could be that your husband or your wife is an extrovert.
A personality thing.
Yeah, personality thing. Is an extrovert and you are an introvert. You like it quiet. You like it
chilled out.
You don't want all the social, all the noise and all of those. Remember, this is the guy or the lady you got married to. If you made up your mind to get married to this person, in spite of the person's personality, it is up to you to accept the person the way the person is, and find a middle ground so that both of you don't have to clash all the time as a result of personality difference. You can't change me. I am an introvert. You are an extrovert, and we can. In fact, it's the difference that makes it beautiful.
Variety is the spice
exactly.
of life. So we need to kind of lean and kind of on
each other.
Exactly.
So what we are saying is, see the things you can help your spouse improve. There are things you can help someone improve, but there are core elements of a person's life you can't change. Even if it's character, even if it's behavior, if the person decides to change, then the person will change. It's not in your hands or circle of influence to make that happen.
And just to add to what you're saying, a lot of people, your spouse inclusive, would always respond to how you treat them. So how do you make your spouse feel? Especially when the behavior is unexpected, or this character is something I didn't anticipate. But how do you make them feel when they exhibit that? Because that in itself can help to enable change or disable change.
What you're saying is just like what is called law of reciprocity, which is about whatever the way you treat others is how they will treat you. If you treat your spouse from a negative standpoint because you have a negative perspective or perception about him or her, you would see the negative in that person. In fact, there is good and there is bad in every one of us. And once we are shown the bad part, when someone is always treating you in a negative way, it brings out that negative aspect. If you smile at someone, it's natural. You see people smiling back at you.
Yeah, even a stranger, like you're walking past and you say good morning, they respond.
So it's natural. So if your spouse sees that I have flaws, but this woman is treating me nicely, doing the best, highlighting the positive side of me, it becomes his or her fulfilling prophecy. You see that person becoming positive.
I would say that, secondly, your perception could be the result of unmet needs and unrealistic expectation. So a lot of us as individuals, we have personal needs which are beyond our spouse. We may have reasons, that you tend to be frustrated at him or her, depending on the situation. Maybe this person is trying to do the best they can for you, but you have an expectation of them that they are not aware of.
Their best is not enough.
And their best is not enough for you, And, sometimes our perception may be as a result of our expectation in the relationship. And, some of them might be based on some distorted views, or maybe not distorted views. There might be legitimate reasons.
It could be fantasy.
Or even personal fantasy. So this is how I imagine my marriage is going to be.
Yeah, because, before we all got married, everyone had an image of what marriage is like and what you expect from your marriage. maybe the kind of marriage your parents had, they had so beautiful marriage, and you're looking at having that kind of marriage. It could also be that, you've watched movies and how life played out so cool in the movies, and now you want your marriage to be like that. Your husband needs to take you to Bahamas, take you to all the
exotic,
fancy food, exotic
destinations.
And this guy doesn't even have, you guys are just average, comfortable, but the income is not enough to
sustain that lifestyle.
Do that kind of life, and you're now frustrated with this guy. Not because he's doing anything wrong, but because what you have in your head doesn't align with your reality.
That's true.
And that becomes a problem.
I just want to say, to be honest, because a lot of people think that, my happiness is guaranteed once I'm married. Your spouse cannot guarantee your happiness. It is a hard pill to swallow, but I need to say to someone out there, it has to come from inside. It has to flow from you. You bring happiness. Happiness flows from you. You cannot expect your spouse to bring you happiness. So if you have a wrong approach or strategy or perception in your relationship, your outcome will always be negative.
Yeah,
will always be negative, and it will bring about a cycle of negativity. There's no positive vibes around you. I mean, people come around you, it's always like you're snapping, you're not happy, there's one thing more. People cannot really, be happy, chill.
Yeah, that's the truth, because we always say that a happy individual makes a happy relationship. A happy spouse makes a happy marriage. So if as a single you're not happy, you're frustrated, you're lonely, you're desperate about life, your life is not working, marriage is not going to change it.
That's true.
It means that whatever you are, who you are is what you bring into your marriage, and who you are is what makes your marriage what it is. We always say this, that your marriage is a product of the two of you combined. Another point is that the standards we want our spouse to meet within the context of our marriage may not be attainable. It could actually be a projection of our own weakness. We want them to meet a standard so high, and that high standard reflects what we cannot do ourselves. It's like a father who has a son in school or a child in school. You want your child to always come first position. Because when you were in school, you couldn't do that. You want him to be a lawyer because you can't be a lawyer. You have a dream and you want someone to meet that dream because you can't meet it yourself.
Following up from what you've just said, some of us actually perceive others the way we perceive ourselves. If you see yourself as a failure in maintaining a successful relationship, then there is every probability that you will end up failing in your marriage. Your personal effort towards maximizing your potential of building a successful relationship will not yield much positive outcome as long as you keep seeing yourself as one who does not have what it takes to have a successful relationship. I can force the horse to the pond, but I cannot force it to drink. I think that is a very popular saying. So this applies in relationship.
To add to the point you just made, sometimes people know for sure that they are weak, they have an area of weakness, and they always see that area of weakness in their spouse. So even if that is not there, you see it there. And there are areas you want the person to be perfect, because you can't be perfect. You see the limitations, even though those limitations are not there.
One of the ways that I think that you can develop the right perception for a successful marriage is about you, first of all, understanding yourself, like you said, how you perceive yourself. And it's important that you see yourself the way God sees you. Because God sees you competent. God sees you lovable. God sees you able to do that thing, in spite of the weaknesses you see in yourself. And I think that reinforcing that every day would help you in building a healthy perception, a healthy self-image of yourself, which will invariably rub off on your relationship.
When you change the way you look at things, the way you look at your spouse, the way you look at your marriage, the things you look at will invariably look different to you.
So the question here is, how do you see your spouse? How do you see your relationship? How do you see yourself? I would say that it is important that you take some steps, meaningful steps, practical steps towards building a positive image of yourself, your spouse, and your relationship. It is important that you engage with books in personal reinvention. You would, look at things positively when you expose yourself to information that is healthy enough for you to build that image of yourself. And you would enjoy a significant amount of happiness and joy in your relationship. For our viewers out there, are there other things that you think you could do in order for you to see the best in your relationship? Tell us, share with us, what are the ways, what are the strategies that you have adopted over the years in order for you to build a healthy self-image and a healthy relationship? Please do share in the comment section below. And if you're new to our channel, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And to all our returning subscribers, it's always a pleasure to have you back on our channel engaging with our content. And until the next time, it's goodbye from us.